How's it going, you guys? Welcome to your morning cup. Now we have to talk about what impression this whole COVID ordeal is leaving on India, especially the way that we're reacting. Now, Shashi Tharoor, he's been one of the opposition heads for a long time, someone who's respected widely across the spectrum when it comes to India. And he put out a very accurate statement, dictating that for decades the world saw India as a land of snake charmers and fakirs laying on nails. And in the last 25 years, India became the home of doctors and computer geeks. Now, India is a land where people take a bath in cow urine and cover themselves in cow dung. He says that this false pretense and this falsehood of spreading information that taking a bath in cow dung and cow urine is somehow going to make you immune from COVID, protect you from a pandemic, that is just stupid and harms the image of India on an international ordeal. But we also understand is the fact that Shashi Tharoor is not wrong by any speck of the imagination, and what his statement says here is more accurate about what the people's rising impression seems to be than what you and I can just put together in simple terms. We also understand that working 55 hours or more per week is a serious health hazard. Now, the WHO openly put out a statement dictating that long working hours led to around 7,045,000 deaths from stroke, heart disease in 2016 alone, a 29% increase since the year 2000. The WHO and the International Labour Association openly put out a statement that we as people who work day in and day out to sustain ourselves, to satisfy our expenses and what we desire to exist, what needs to come ahead of our desires is our health. And that's exactly what the labor union as well as the WHO wanted to put forward, considering the fact that if you do not take care of your own health, if you don't understand that there are consequences to you taking your health lightly, which might be the most important thing considering the pandemic, and considering that if something like this comes back in the future, you need to be healthy, not rich, because the rich couldn't save themselves, essentially is what it means. We also understand the fact that sharks use the Earth's magnetic field as GPS. Now, this has been something that has widely been debated for a long time. We understand the fact that people were fascinated about how sharks and a lot of marine animals at that can navigate such vast bodies of water and make sure that they get to where they're going every single time without being well deviated from their choice of route, if you will. Well, it turns out that they use the Earth's magnetic field as a kind of a GPS. 20 bonnethead sharks were exposed to magnetic conditions that simulated locations hundreds of kilometers away from where they were caught. Sharks began to swim north when the magnetic cues made them think they were south of where they should be. So essentially, just like birds who migrate from one place to the other, animals in the oceans do the same thing. They migrate from one part of the ocean to the other part of the ocean all the time. And this shark discovery is just a nail in the coffin of people understanding finally as to the significance of the magnetic field of the Earth. There has been a lot of physics related theories in place when it comes to the magnetic field, some theories that are more biological with the marine life as well. Well, it goes to show that there is a lot more to it than we might have understood earlier. We move on to the fact that Amitabh Bachchan said something, and now this is either boasting a lot or either being factual. But when someone asked him that what about the funds you donate and such, he went out of his way to say that it's embarrassing for him to ask someone for money. And he said that with all due respect and modesty, at times the amount that he individually donates is equal to the amount that is raised by various campaigns. Now, I understand that you're a big shot actor, and I understand that half the world is, people who know Bollywood know you and they're in love with your acting skills, and you've been in the game for a long time. You've secured a very good, well, let's just say copious sums of wealth. But is that something that should have been phrased that way, or is it not? Again, we're at that portion of this episode wherein your opinion is just as good as mine. So make sure that your opinion is heard down below. Let me know what you think about this particular story, and if he's boasting about his wealth, if he's trying to come across in a certain negative way, or is he just trying to state the fact that I did so much for the people who are suffering from COVID. So what are you on about? I donated more money than campaigns donated. Either way you look at it, it doesn't really sound nice, considering that when people do something for charity, they don't do it for recognition. They just do it for, well, the good deed of things. But then again, if someone is trying to call you out on things and say that why didn't you, maybe he was defending himself. So It's all up for speculation if you ask me. We move on to the fact that the Bombay police did a friends reunion quote on Twitter which went viral. Well, the reunion thing and all that is up and about, and the Bombay police said that meet with your friends after the COVID lockdowns and such, and reunite with your friends only after the final season of COVID-19, please. Until then, online meetups will be there for you. So a little wordplay there by the Bombay police trying to make things a little more appealing to the youth, if you will. I don't know how much of that worked, but it made it to the news. So hey, credits to the Bombay police and whoever decided that was a good idea, because it well kind of was. North Korea withdrew from the 2022 FIFA World Cup qualifiers. Now North Korea is no longer going to be part of the FIFA World Cup. We understand that the Asian Football Confederation confirmed on Sunday that the country has also withdrawn from the Tokyo 2020 Olympics because of concerns that the COVID-19 pandemic would go back to North Korea, considering how they went to the WHO and said that nothing is wrong with their country, and the only reason we wanted to discover vaccines and such is because it questions the systematic existence of our land in the first place. I mean, heavy words from Kim Jong-un there, but then again, what can you expect in a kingdom where 0 cases of COVID were reported, when the rest of the world was bashed with COVID, various waves, and we're still dealing with waves here in India? North Korea says that they didn't have any cases. 26,000 people were tested. 0 came out positive. People who had anything to do with influenza-like symptoms were treated, whatever that means in North Korean terms. With that being said, we understand that there is a lot that comes into play when you're trying to understand the bigger picture of things, but then again, there is a lot that doesn't really come into play when you're trying to understand things that are missing a lot of the essential information one requires to make judgment calls that actually make sense. So before you hop onto some bandwagon, before you make speculatory decisions, just pay attention to what the actual context of information is. That is exactly why this show tries to be very straightforward, and exactly why every show that you consume that is giving you any kind of news or helping you shape your opinion should be rather modest about their own, well, delivery or coverage, in my opinion. Until then, see you tomorrow.